In 2012, I got involved with a group of parents in Houston, and we pushed back against a curriculum called It's Your Game. We were successful in removing it from Cy-Fair ISD, and that took me to the Capitol because they had approached many different school districts in the Houston area, and I wanted to remove it from all school districts. So I went to the Capitol with a booklet like this, and I took it to every legislator that I could meet with and their staff, asking them to help me please get this curriculum out of school districts. And I ended up testifying on a bill in 2013 that would prohibit Planned Parenthood from teaching in the schools. And I've stayed involved in that issue since 2012, and I've sort of become an expert on the issue. I ordered a bunch of different curriculums and read them and reviewed them so that I could help parents understand what was being taught in the classrooms. And I speak at legislative briefings and I testify on bills. And then this session, I wrote 3 bills that were filed by 3 different legislators, and all 3 of them had to do with parental transparency in the classroom, keeping pornography out of the classroom, and removing the education affirmative defense for obscenity to children. So Austin ISD adopted a curriculum called Get Real, which was developed by Planned Parenthood. When SB 22 passed, they had to then propose a different curriculum because they could no longer use Get Real. And so they formulated their own curriculum. They put together from a bunch of different websites and a bunch of different developers and some resources off the internet, and they put together their own curriculum that's never been tested, never been used, isn't evidence-based, isn't medically accurate, 1,100 pages. And that's what they have adopted in order to avoid using a Planned Parenthood curriculum. Austin ISD has adopted the worst curriculum I've ever seen. And we not only need to remove it from Austin ISD, but we need to make sure that nothing like this is ever adopted in any district. So I encourage anybody who's watching this to please get involved. It's only been in the last year or 2 that the comprehensive sex education curriculums have started to incorporate gender confusion lessons. One of those lessons in the Austin ISD curriculum that's included in multiple grades is the graphic genderbread person. It asks students to consider or explore their gender identity with woman and man on either side of the spectrum and gender queer in the center. It also asks students to explore their gender expression with feminine and masculine on each end and androgynous in the center. It asks students to discuss and explore their biological sex with male and female on either end with intersex in the center. And then also their sexual orientation with heterosexual and homosexual on each end and bisexual in the center. When discussing this issue with the other side, the opposing viewpoint is that if you don't adopt and accept and completely adhere to their position, that you're anti-LGBTQ, and that's just not true. The sexual risk avoidance approach is an optimal health message for every student. So I want to be clear, I am not anti-LGBTQ. I think it's an adult decision, but that should not be taught in the classroom because it subverts parental authority and it subverts family values. Other lessons in the curriculum are also very concerning. They ask students at a very young age to make posters that favor a political agenda. They ask students to come up with marketing campaigns that favor a political agenda. And they also ask students to attend parades and to wear stickers and to totally buy in and favor a political agenda. Instead of educating, the school district is indoctrinating the students. One of the lessons that also concerns me is the lesson titled How to Put On and Take Off a Male Condom. And it's very concerning because the pictures are pornographic and they expect the student at the height of arousal to follow their 6 steps.
Good evening. I thought since we wouldn't just talk about the lessons, but we'd have a lesson. So this is for 11-year-olds, and if anybody in the room is feeling a little cringy, try to imagine being 11. How to put on and take off a male condom. Carefully open and remove condom from wrapper for 11-year-olds. Carefully remove the condom and throw it in the trash. This is age inappropriate and pornographic.
Thank you. Next.
Almost every grade and every lesson includes some video from the internet, and those videos sometimes are animated and sometimes include real students, and they are promoting or advocating some issue in the lesson, and the videos are disturbing. And I encourage everybody to go on the Austin ISD website. Even the curriculum that they've chosen to still promote on their website that they're not hiding is still very disturbing. And the videos, when you watch them, they're supposedly meant for third graders, fourth graders, fifth graders. I don't know what the student is supposed to think or believe once the video is over. It sends a very unclear, distorted, disturbing message. I've been in this since 2012, and I don't know how bad it has to get before parents get engaged, but it has gone, like I said, it has gone from sexualizing children at a very young age to now confusing their identity. And I'm just hoping that it's bad enough that parents will get involved, that the community will get involved, and that we can push back and get back to some semblance of normalcy and some semblance of what's good and right and true and healthy for every student. Let's take it back to academics, right? Let's take it back to academics and leave all this behavior, attitude, and value teaching up to the homes and up to the families. That's what I want. In the October 28th meeting, although many parents asked the school board to adopt a lesser curriculum or a more middle-of-the-road curriculum, they denied those requests and unanimously adopted the 1,100 pages that were formerly posted on the district website. Since then, the Austin ISD is hiding some of those pages and have only posted parts of the curriculum on their website. What's so upsetting is that the curriculums are continuously subverting parental authority. They're always directing students to a trusted adult, not necessarily the parent. They're always subverting family values and creating advocates in the students, advocates for the LGBTQ movement, which if your family doesn't agree with that, and you're forcing it in the classroom, or you're always teaching it in the classroom, or you're sending my child home with a rainbow sticker on, that's against my values, and that's not the school's place. And so what's upsetting is that the school is trying to take the place of the family and the home and the parents. That's what's so upsetting.
I'm here today as a concerned parent, a grandparent, and a resident of Austin since 1992. Thank you for listening to my concerns. It's the parent's role to educate children about moral behavior because ideas of right and wrong come from a person's worldview. Children belong to parents, not the state. In America, we have the freedom of religion as stated in the First Amendment, and no government entity can infringe on this freedom. Therefore, the state, via the public school system, should not indoctrinate our children with ideologies that are opposed to deeply held spiritual convictions. It's the job of educators to teach subject matters that will train and prepare our children for higher education and for contributing to the good of all people in our society. It's the job of parents to instill values and wisdom in our children. The problem we have today is the lines have been blurred. Schools should teach history, language arts, science, and math, and a whole bunch of other things. Parents should teach values. We respectfully ask you to say no to this curriculum, and we'll do our job and teach our children.
Thank you.
There were
Next speaker is
over 100 people there, and maybe only 100 people testified. But if you were at that meeting prior to it starting and you were outside the boardroom, there were hundreds of people in the courtyard. Today, I'm going to give you some tools that will help you oppose the talking points on the side of bad health information. And what I am for is, and what sexual risk avoidance curriculums are for, is optimal health of every student and avoiding risk so that students can be economically successful, academically successful, emotionally successful, and mentally successful. That message is the same for every student. In March, Austin ISD will start holding parent meetings at the different schools where parents will be able to hopefully ask more questions, and you'll also be given the dates on which the curriculum will be taught, so that you can choose to keep your child home on those days or opt your child out, which means that they'll be then taken out of the classroom and taken to a different classroom or taken to the library. I don't really know the exact plan for every school, but a parent will have the opportunity to opt out of the lessons. When you go and ask questions or when you go to these parent meetings, the district is going to try to give you very high-level summaries. So when they tell you that they're going to teach your child about healthy relationships, you need to understand what healthy relationships mean, and it could mean things that you don't think is healthy. So make sure that you ask for examples of lessons and you ask for details. Do not accept a high-level summary as an explanation of what's going to be taught in the classroom. Every parent knows every child is different. Every child is different. And so what's age appropriate for potentially one 9-year-old is not necessarily age appropriate for another 9-year-old, or maybe isn't age appropriate at all in your opinion. And so don't accept that as a rationale or as support for a lesson. Just because the district says something is age appropriate does not mean that it is. There is an agenda to subvert the family and to subvert parental authority. There are organizations all over the world, all over this country, and all over the state that seek to change a generation through sex education. And I know that might sound crazy, but if they can create children in the classroom while parents aren't paying attention, and then even in the college classroom, if they can change a child's behavior, attitude, motives, and cares and wants, and create a dependent on the government, then they can change a culture. They can change a generation, and they can break down family. And that's scary. A lot of families, because of this issue, have taken their kids out of public schools or are considering taking their children out of public schools and homeschooling or sending them to private school or charter schools. And although those are possibly good options, the problem is there's still the great majority of students that will stay in public schools because of many different reasons: affordability, access, locality, whatever the reasons are. And so we all, as a community, need to be concerned with all of those children that are still in public schools are being taught a bad, unhealthy program. And they're still changing culture through sex ed. And so those students will be the students that your child dates. Those students will be the students that your child is friends with. Those students will be the students that will be governing us one day. So we all need to be concerned with what's going on in the public schools. And the Texas Education Code is strong law. It requires that abstinence be taught, that it be emphasized, that more attention be devoted to abstinence, and that it be taught as the preferred method. So I am not in favor of abandoning public schools. I am in favor of holding the public schools accountable to Texas law. Every district has to have what's called a Student Health Advisory Council. The acronym is SHAC. And so the SHAC is supposed to be composed of mostly parents, and is supposed to either be chaired or co-chaired by a parent. So I encourage parents in every district to find out how you apply and how you can get on the SHAC so that you can be a guiding voice, a rational voice, a logical voice, a healthy voice in this discussion so that we can stop this. We not only need to remove it from Austin ISD, but we need to make sure that nothing like this is ever adopted in any district. So I encourage anybody who's watching this to please get involved. Get involved in the SHAC, ask your district what's being taught, and ask for specific lessons. Again, do not accept high-level summaries and assume that your district is for your child. This is why I'm running. This is just one of the issues that I care about. This is the issue that brought me to the Capitol in 2013. I encourage everybody to get involved, to reach out to me on any of my social media accounts, which include Fleck-Texas Strong. Get engaged. If you're a parent, run for school board, ask to be on the SHAC, and go to the meetings when they have parent meetings so that you can ask questions. Don't allow them to give you high-level summaries, and tell your neighbors everything that you know and everything that you've heard. And join me as we, the people, keep Texas strong.